Welcome to Dangerous African Confession HD, the place where secrets too dark to be told come to light. In this episode, you'll hear a story so chilling, so powerful, that it will make you question everything you thought you knew about the church, prophecy, power, and the cost of ambition. Today, we have two souls, once devoted to the path of prophecy, have returned to share their harrowing confessions. Prophet Elijah and Sister Seraphina, each one's journey into the world of dark rituals, hidden chambers, and the awakening of the third eye has led them to the same terrifying truth: the higher the rise, the darker the fall. A warning to those who seek knowledge and power without understanding the consequences. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and leave your thoughts in the comments.
I wasn't always this man, sitting here today before you. Before all of this, I was lost. The world didn't make sense to me, and I didn't know where I was going. I was a young man, restless and searching for meaning, any meaning. You see, I'd been raised in the church, but even then, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. Something bigger was calling me, something beyond the walls of the building, beyond the pulpit. But I couldn't find it. You see, I sometimes can go to the church and stand in the back of the church, watching the congregation. They were so sure, so certain. And I was empty. I didn't feel God in the same way they did. They were filled with faith, and I just felt like I was drifting, waiting for a spark. Let me tell you how I first met the prophet, and it began from that point on. It was a Wednesday evening, and the church had just finished a long service. People were leaving, but I stayed behind. I was always one of those people who lingered. I had no place to go, no one to talk to. It was then that I first saw him, the senior prophet. The memory of that day is still vivid in my mind. He wasn't like the others. He didn't blend in. He stood apart, almost as if he were above everyone. His presence was unsettling, but in a way that was magnetic. People were drawn to him, and I could see it, how their eyes lit up when he spoke, how they followed his every word like it was gospel. There was something different about the way he looked at me. It wasn't just curiosity. It was like he saw through me, into the very core of my being, into my doubts, my fears, my confusion. He saw things I hadn't told anyone. And when our eyes met, for a moment, everything else disappeared. He came over to me. Everyone else was so wrapped up in their own conversations, but he was focused on me. He stopped right in front of me, and for a moment, we just stood there, looking at each other. I could feel my heart racing. He smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. And he told me that he sees me. And even went on to mention my name, Elijah. Honestly, I was shocked. And it opened me for more things to come. This is because I started listening to his every word, and I knew there was something in him. He told me that he knows and sees that I was hungry for something greater. And in that moment, I was hooked. I didn't even know why. It was like he had pierced through all my defenses with just a few words. He didn't need to tell me what he saw. I knew. I knew he was right. I had been searching for something, anything, that would fill the emptiness I felt. I wanted more. And there he was, offering it to me. You see, over time, he spoke of visions, of prophecy, of the power to see things that would happen before they happened. He told me that I had the gift of sight, that I was chosen. He said, I was not meant to stay in the shadows forever. And that I can be more if that is what I want. You see, he spoke of things that I had only dreamed about, divine insight. The truth beyond the veil of this world. And when he said that, I felt it. I felt the pull. It was like a magnet, a force I couldn't resist. I want to say that the devil is really wise. And he will use the things that you really want to attain or want to have to get you do his bidding for him. And that is exactly what happened to me. I should have known better. I should have questioned him. I should have asked what this really meant. But I didn't. I couldn't. All I could think about was how alive I felt in that moment, how it was like all the pieces of my life were finally coming together. He told me he could help me unlock my true potential. All I had to do was trust him. And to be honest, my brother, I did.
Well, me too. I remember the first time I heard about the prophet. It wasn't something I sought out, at least, not consciously. You know, life has a way of pulling you in directions you don't expect. I was at a point in my life where I felt like there had to be more to it all. I was struggling, fighting with unanswered questions, with a kind of restlessness in my soul. I felt as if something was missing, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't shake it. I couldn't find peace. I was young, eager, and naive. I thought the word of faith would give me answers. I tried everything: church, prayer, books, quiet contemplation, but nothing seemed to satisfy the hunger inside of me. I couldn't quite explain it, but I felt like I was being called for something greater, something beyond the typical teachings I'd been exposed to. I wasn't looking for fame or power. I was looking for truth. Something that could make sense of the chaos in my life. You see, this man, when I got closer to him, there was something magnetic about him. I've never been one to believe in charisma, but it was undeniable. There was a presence in him, something powerful, something beyond human understanding. And I will say, that is also part of the reasons I dedicated my time and life for his mission and ministry as a servant there. And in fact, I will say that, during my time as a servant under him, I have witnessed a lot of things. And even just as we talk about these things, the ordinary church members will feel you are saying things just to tarnish certain people and their image. But, my dear, I don't have time for that. I just want to save people by telling them what goes on in these prophetic churches behind the scenes. This man, his words weren't like any sermon I'd heard before. They weren't just about the Bible or scripture. He spoke of visions, of prophecy, of things unseen, things that only the chosen could understand. He talked about seeing the future, about seeing beyond the veil of this world, about divine revelations that could change the course of destiny. I was always captivated by all of that. They call it the gift of sight, the ability to understand what others could not. To see what was hidden. The idea of seeing the future, being able to know things no one else could, it felt like a promise, a key to understanding the mysteries that had always eluded me. And it was beautiful. His voice was soothing, comforting, compelling. My dear, one thing that I will say is that I thought I was alone in my search. The other people in the church seemed content, peaceful, as if they had found the answers I had been looking for. But I needed more. I couldn't settle for the surface-level faith I had been taught. I needed to understand what was beyond the ordinary, beyond the rituals. And here was someone who was offering that, promising it, in a way that felt impossible to ignore. I dedicated myself fully for his cause. The funny thing is that I told myself it was just curiosity, that I was just exploring. But deep down, I was hungry for what he was offering. The way he spoke about divine power, how different it felt from anything I'd ever known, it made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in years. I didn't know it then, but I was already being pulled in. The senior prophet, he will make you to believe that he was the only one who could help you understand, and even gain a deeper gift of the Spirit which will take you far and wide in this world. I remember when he told me that I was special, chosen, that I had the ability to see, to feel, to know things that others couldn't. He told me I was destined for greatness, that the world needed me to awaken to my true potential. Honestly, he spoke of the third eye, of opening the door to the unseen world. He told me I had a gift, that I could receive visions. That I would be able to guide people, to help them in ways they couldn't even imagine. And then came the promise, the ultimate promise. At this time, I had served him and the church for long. If I am not mistaken, I had spent like 5 to 7 years there at this time. I think even Brother Elijah came to meet me there. Yes, and we were all initiated together that period. The senior prophet said that the only way to truly unlock my potential, to fully open my third eye, was to take part in the final ritual. The ritual that would cement my place as a true prophetess. The idea of having the power of God was too enticing to resist. And at that time, we all felt he was a genuine man of God. And so, there was no point it will come to mind to question him or anything. I was ready to accept whatever it took to receive it. To become the person I was always meant to be. You see, my dear, I thought that once I achieved this power, I would finally have the answers I had been searching for. I thought I would find peace, that I would finally understand what the universe had been trying to tell me all these years. But little did I know that the price of the power I sought would be higher than anything I could imagine. And that I was walking into a world I would never escape from until now.
Let me tell you one instance about what happened between myself and the prophet before I was even initiated into all of these things. He called me into his office one evening, alone. He told me that the first step to unlocking my power was to prove my faith. He said, faith without action is meaningless. And so, he handed me a small black book, its pages thick and worn. The Book of Prophecies. He said it contained the secrets of the universe. All I had to do was open it. But you see, there was a catch. He told me that I had to write in it first, my own prophecy. It was a test of belief, of trust. I had to believe that I had the power to see the future. I thought it was foolish at first. How could I write a prophecy when I didn't even know what the future held? But then, I did it. I wrote down a prophecy. A simple one, but one I believed. I wrote, the coming storm will reveal the truth. And when I finished, I felt different. It was like the air around me had changed. And then, the strangest thing happened. I don't know if you are going to believe it. The next day, a storm hit. It was unlike anything I had ever seen. Lightning struck the church, and I swear, it was like the heavens themselves were acknowledging my words. That was the moment I knew I was chosen. I was ready to be a prophet. I had become one of his closest devotees. Because we had the women and the men. The women, his wife was in charge of them, whilst he himself was not dealing with us, the men, directly. There was this other prophet who came right after him. He was in charge of us. So anything that you need, you will go through him first before maybe you can go see the senior prophet. But for some reason, he was always available for me, anytime I wanted to see him. You see, he kept pulling me deeper. The more I saw, the more I wanted. The more power I tasted, the hungrier I became. The truth is that all of things they do in disguise as prophetic, it is to control the masses and nothing else. That is why most of the prophecies are about negative stuffs. Even when he tells you that you are going to receive money or becoming wealthy, he will then add the caveat that the devil this, the devil that, so that you will still come under him. So, it wasn't just about prophecy anymore, it was about control, about power over the lives of others. He taught me things, rituals, incantations, the art of manipulating the future. He told me, with prophecy, you can bend the world to your will. You can reshape destinies. And, God help me, I believed him. I started to think that this was my destiny, that I was meant to lead, to show others the path. I thought I was helping people, that I was doing good work. But I didn't see the darkness creeping in, not at first.
My dear, the night before our initiation, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with thoughts of what was about to happen. There was a strange excitement in my chest, but also a gnawing sense of fear. I was terrified, yes, but I was also hungry for what the prophet had promised. The promise of power. The promise of knowing what others couldn't know, seeing what others couldn't see. And the truth, that truth I had been yearning for, was just within my reach. But even then, I didn't know the price. I couldn't have known. One thing about these mega churches and most of the prophetic churches out there If you are not a deep inner member in the close circles of the pastor or prophet, you will never know most of the secrets of the church even till your last breath. I had been in the church serving all my heart out. But I never knew that there was other inner chambers underground. And it is this place that most of the dark rituals and initiations are done. The chamber was unlike anything I had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with an energy I couldn't understand. I could smell the bittersweet scent filling my nostrils as I took each step. The candles flickered, casting long shadows on the walls. The atmosphere was oppressive. But still, there was a pull to it. I felt drawn in, as if something within me was already connected to it, even before the ritual began. I was led to the place by one sister who was also very close to the pastor's wife. When I got there was a large room where in the center of the room is a pool. At first, I couldn't see what was in it, just the reflection of the flickering candles dancing on the surface. The senior prophet came in from one of the rooms there. And I was asked to go naked in front of him, leaving only my pant. But every other thing was naked. The sister also did same as I was asked to enter into the pool. Now, the prophet started with his chants and the initiation began. He told me that this was the final stage, the vessel, where I would undergo the transformation. I remember standing there, looking down at the pool, my heart racing, my hands shaking. And then, he said that this was the moment of awakening, that the waters would cleanse me and open my third eye. And though something inside me screamed to run, I didn't. I stepped forward, my feet touching the cool surface of the water, sending ripples across the calmness. And then I sank deeper, feeling the cold water rise higher, until it was just below my chest. I could feel it, something. A sensation that I can't quite explain. My brother, after his chants and all that, something started to stir in me, and before I knew it, I started making out with the other lady in the pool. And after some few minutes, the pastor too joined us. After which my brother, he asked me to swallow his semen. And when I did, there was this strange feeling all over me. He rubbed my body with some oil and then asked me to lie down on the floor after I had stepped out of the water. I don't know what happened. Whether I slept or what, but when I woke up, I had spent like almost 6 hours lying down there. When I woke up, it was as though nothing had happened to me. And then, the night that followed, I started to see vision and my dreams changed.
What do we truly seek when we chase power? Is it freedom, or is it control? Prophet Elijah and Seraphina sought to rise above, to touch the divine, but in the end, they paid the ultimate price for what they thought was a gift. The price of prophecy is not only the soul, it is the very essence of what makes us human. Remember, every step you take toward power can be a step away from yourself. Choose wisely, for the path to the unknown is often paved with the cost of your soul. Now, take a moment to reflect on what you've just witnessed. If you found truth in their confessions, don't just walk away. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below. Tell us, what do you think is the true price of power? Is there a limit to what we should sacrifice in the name of prophecy? Until next time, remember, your soul, your peace, and your integrity are worth more than anything this world can offer. Stay true to yourself, and you'll never lose your way.